It's a race against time for workers at this flower farm in Naivasha, a town considered to be Kenya's horticultural capital. And that's because the global flower market is now heading to its peak season. But things are not looking rosy, according to Jack Nepes, the farm's manager. That's because starting next month, the European Union may introduce taxes on Kenyan exports to the EU should Kenya and the rest of the East African Community member states fail to enter into a new trade pact with the EU. The situation is dire considering that 4 out of every 10 flowers that enter the EU market are from Kenya.
This is like hanging above our head like a very dark cloud.
The EU and the EAC have been in talks for the last 12 years to hammer out a new trade arrangement dubbed the Economic Partnership Agreement, or EPA, which would accord Kenyan exports duty-free and limitless access into the EU market. The value of Kenya's exports to the EU, which include coffee, peas, avocados and French beans, stood at 104.6 billion shillings as at the close of 2013, down from 108 billion shillings in 2012. But in the absence of an EPA deal with the EU, tea, cut flowers and fresh produce exports into the EU will attract import duty at the rate of 8.5%, thereby rendering Kenyan exports unable to compete with similar exports from countries that have already signed a free trade pact with the EU.
Our products will become less favorable in the marketplace. We could, for instance, hurt our market share. It obviously means that we will see an impact on productivity. We will see people retracting their production, we will see job losses, we will see market losses.
EAC member states are also worried that the signing of the EPA with the EU could open the floodgates for subsidized agricultural products from the EU to enter the EAC market. But according to Christophe De Roy, the Trade and Communications Councillor at the EU delegation to Kenya, that fear is largely unfounded.
There will be no possibility any longer for European Union exports from agricultural products, for instance, to be subsidized in any way.
What is imminent, though, is that if no deal is reached by the close of this month, Kenyan exporters may have to bear the brunt of tariffs on their exports to the EU without any likelihood of a refund in the event that a deal is reached thereafter. They were proposing that perhaps EU considers refunding the extra costs that these people will incur. Is that a possibility that can be achieved from the EU side?
The European Union cannot refund. This is legally impossible. We have never done that in the past with whoever trading partner.
Stakeholders in the horticulture industry are now pinning their hopes on an EAC stakeholder meeting that is scheduled for tomorrow, which is aimed at ending the current deadlock on the EU-EAC trade talks.
I am very hopeful that this is the last round of discussions that we expect.
We just hope that they can negotiate a deal very quickly and that they can agree.
Given Kenya's status as a developing country, East Africa's biggest economy stands to lose more should talks to hammer out an EPA drag on past the 30th September deadline. Patrick Igunza, Citizen Business Center.